The sky over planet Zara was dark, too dark. Not the kind of night that made people sleep. It was the kind that made soldiers die. Ethan's boots splashed through thick gray mud as lightning cracked above him. Each thunderclap shook the ground. Ash rained from the sky like snow. Buildings burned in the distance. Screams echoed. The war hadn't ended, had evolved into something worse. And Ethan was alone. His squad had been wiped out just hours ago. Now, he was trying to make it back to the extraction zone, dodging falling debris, enemy drones, and whatever new creatures the aliens had unleashed during the death storm. His comms were down. His helmet cracked. He could barely breathe through the gas in the air. Then he heard it. A cough, weak. Not human. He paused behind a half-broken wall and turned his head toward the sound. There, barely visible under the collapsed beam, lay a girl, an alien girl. She looked half dead. Her skin was pale blue and glowing faintly under the smoke. She was no older than 20 in human years. Her arms were tied in chains, her legs bruised, and her clothes torn like a prisoner's. Her eyes opened slowly. Large and violet, like shattered glass. Ethan raised his weapon, but then she whispered, "Don't leave me." He froze. This wasn't a trap. No weapon, no backup waiting behind the smoke. Just one girl. Chained and shaking, he should have walked away. Instead, he dropped to his knees beside her. "You're not one of them?" he asked. She blinked slowly. "I'm not sure what I am anymore." Lightning struck close by. The ground trembled. "We can't stay here," Ethan said. He grabbed her chains and tried to lift her gently. She gasped in pain. "I have no strength," she said. "They drained me. Then let me carry you. You'll die if you do." "I'll die if I don't," he replied. He pulled her into his arms, careful not to press too hard on her wounds. Her body was too light, like she hadn't eaten in days. As he stood, the sky above roared again. Something screamed in the clouds. The storm was alive. Ethan started running. Buildings fell behind him. Fire danced across rooftops. Strange flying drones zipped past, scanning. One of them paused and turned toward Ethan. He ducked behind a wrecked transport vehicle, holding his breath. The girl trembled in his arms, but didn't cry out. "Who are you?" he whispered. "I don't remember. They called me Saren. That's all." "Why were you chained?" I said no. "To what?" She didn't answer. The drone flew past without spotting them. Ethan kept moving. His muscles screamed, but he didn't stop. The nearest military outpost was 2 clicks west. If he made it there, maybe he could get a med kit. Maybe even a signal boost. As they moved deeper into the ruins, she began to hum softly. It was a strange tune, not human, not alien either. "You're not afraid of me?" he asked. "You saved me," she said simply. "Doesn't mean you should trust me." She tilted her head weakly. "Your soul, ... it's loud." He looked at her. "What?" Gave a tired smile. "You feel guilt. You feel pain. But you're still running with me, carrying me. That's loud." He had no answer to that. Halfway to the outpost, they crossed a field of glass, once a park, now melted and cracked by plasma fire. The storm thickened, turning the air to smoke. Ethan's breathing became shallow. His legs started to give. Then she reached out and touched his chest. "Don't give up," she said. "We're almost there." Her touch was warm, too warm. It sent a strange energy through him. Just enough to push forward again. Finally, they reached the edge of the military shelter. The walls were cracked but still standing. Inside were old supplies, flickering lights, and some working panels. Ethan set her down gently on a cot and collapsed beside her. Neither of them spoke for a long moment. Then she whispered, "You don't remember me, do you?" Ethan turned to her slowly. "What?" "You were the only human who smiled at me, before everything fell apart." He stared at her, confused. "We've met before." Her eyes glistened with something between sadness and hope. "Yes." And then she passed out. Ethan sat frozen. The storm still howled outside. He didn't know what she was talking about, but something told him this wasn't just about survival anymore. It was personal, and it had only just begun. Asterisk, the storm hadn't stopped. If anything, it had grown louder. Inside the cracked shelter, Ethan leaned against the wall, trying to calm his breath. He'd wrapped Saren in an emergency thermal blanket, but she was still shivering. Not from the cold, but from something deeper. Something unseen. A low hum came from the far corner of the shelter. The comms panel blinked faintly. Ethan limped over and tried to boost the signal. Static filled the speaker. No command. No backup. No extraction. He was still alone. With her, Saren groaned behind him. He turned quickly. "You okay?" She blinked slowly, eyes adjusting to the light. "Where are we?" "Abandoned outpost. I think it was used during the first wave of the invasion." She tried to sit up, but fell back with a cry. "Easy," Ethan said, moving closer. "Your body's weak." "I'm not weak," she said. Softly, "I was emptied." Emptied. Ethan frowned. "What does that mean?" She looked away. He noticed something on her skin, once pale blue, was shifting. Faint silver patterns danced beneath the surface, like circuits coming to life. "What? Are you?" he whispered. Saren didn't answer. Instead, she slowly reached into her shredded coat and pulled out a small device oval-shaped, glowing dimly. She clutched it tight, then met his eyes. "I need you to promise something. Depends on what you're asking. If they find me, if I lose control, destroy this." Ethan stared at the device. "Why? What is it?" "It's a key." "A key to what?" Before she could answer, the shelter lights flickered on. Then the warning alarm blared. A red light flashed above the door. "Motion detected," the AI voice said. "Unidentified drones approaching." Ethan stood up fast and grabbed his weapon. Saren's breath quickened. "They found us." "Who's they?" he asked. "Aliens, your kind." She nodded. "They don't want me back. They want me gone. Erased." "What did you do?" Ethan demanded. "I said no," she said again. "They gave me a task. I refused. They made me forget most of it." "How do you even know me?" he asked. "I don't, but my heart remembered." That made no sense to him. But now wasn't the time to argue. The shelter door creaked as a small recon drone zipped in through the broken ceiling. Ethan blasted it before it could fully scan them. More buzzing came from outside. "Back room," he shouted. He grabbed Saren and helped her to her feet. She limped, but her energy was returning slowly. The back chamber was shielded by old magnetic steel. Ethan locked the door behind them and activated the noise-cancel barrier. They were hidden. For now, but Saren wasn't calming down. "They have a hunter," she whispered, "not a machine. Something worse. A person. Not exactly. It's bred to smell betrayal. It can track thoughts. Broken loyalties." Ethan's eyes narrowed. "And it's after you." She nodded. "It'll kill you too, just for helping me." Ethan sat down across from her, breathing hard. "Why should I trust you? For all I know, you could be part of this warsome kind of weapon." She looked at him with those strange violet eyes. "I am a weapon," she said, "but I never asked to be." Ethan didn't know what to say to that. Outside, the storm grew quiet to quiet. Then, a loud hiss. The smell of burning metal filled the shelter. Something was melting the front door. Ethan stood, ready. Siren's voice shook. If it gets in here, don't try to fight it. It can't be killed by your weapons. What do you suggest? We hide and pray. She closed her eyes, placing the oval device on the floor between them. No, she said. I'll talk to it. What? I was made by them. Maybe I can buy us time. Before he could stop her, she limped out of the chamber. Ethan cursed and followed. The front door of the shelter was nearly gone melting like ice under fire. And then it came in. It wasn't a person. It was tall, smooth, dark-skinned, like polished stone. No mouth, no nose, just glowing red eyes. It had no feet, just hovered, humming low like an old engine. It turned toward Saren. Designation Saren T-47. It spoke without a voice. Your purpose is terminated. Return the key. Saren stood her ground, though she trembled. I won't let you use it. You are broken. You've bonded with a human. Ethan aimed his weapon. Back off, tin can. The creature turned to him. Human Ethan Voss. You are irrelevant. It raised its arm. A red light formed at its fingertip. Saren shouted, no. A burst of blue light exploded from her body, slamming the hunter back into the wall. It screeched and vanished into a cloud of smoke. Saren collapsed to her knees. Gasping, Ethan ran to her. How? How did you do that? Her voice was faint. I used what's left of my bond energy. You nearly died. I would've, but you're still here. Ethan stared at her. What do you mean by bond? Saren looked up at him. If I stay with you, something inside me changes. And that scares them more than any weapon. The storm outside had calmed, but inside the shelter, something far more dangerous had just awakened. Saren lay on the cold floor, her skin glowing with streaks of silver and blue, flickering like circuits. Her breath was shaky. Her body trembled not from fear, but from exhaustion. Ethan knelt beside her. He had no idea what just happened. That hunter thing was blasted back by pure light from Saren's body light. No weapon could produce. She wasn't human. She wasn't just alien either. She was something more. You said you're a weapon, Ethan said carefully. But what kind of weapon can do that? Saren opened her eyes slowly. One that was never supposed to choose. Choose what? She stared at the ceiling, then whispered, love. Ethan froze. That doesn't make any sense. No, Saren said. Her voice soft. It never did. That's why they feared it. He helped her sit up, but the glow in her skin was fading. She was weak again. I need you to explain everything now, he said. What are you? Why are they hunting you? What's this bond thing? Saren looked at him for a long moment. Then, with a shaky hand, she reached into the cloth tied around her waist and pulled out a tiny holographic crystal. When she placed it on the metal floor, it lit up, projecting an image above them. A massive alien city appeared, glowing towers floating above deep craters. At the heart of it stood a huge black temple with a glowing core. That's not on Earth, Ethan whispered. No, Saren said. That's Corinth 9, the Vault World. The hologram zoomed into the core. There, inside the temple, rested something terrible. A sphere of pulsing red energy, surrounded by chains and alien glyphs. This is the Extinction Core, Saren said. Created long ago by my ancestors. A living AI with a single command: erase the threat of humanity if they rise too far. Ethan stood slowly, jaw tightening. So you're saying your people made a doomsday weapon? For us, we were afraid, she said, of what your kind could become, of your minds, your will, your emotions, especially your emotions. He scoffed. So much for peace talks. I was born with DNA that connects to the core. Only someone with my genetic code can activate it. I was bred for that purpose. But you didn't do it, Ethan said. You didn't destroy Earth, Saren. Look down. I was sent to Earth once. Before the war, to live among you. I was disguised as a student. I was told to observe, to plan. Ethan's breath caught. When? 10 years ago. You were at that university. You didn't notice me? But, one day, you smiled at me in the library. You offered me your seat. He stared at her. That was you. She nodded. That moment changed me. It confused me. I wasn't trained to feel anything. Ethan rubbed his hands over his face, trying to absorb the truth. I went back to my people, Saren said. I told them I didn't want to be part of the mission. That Earth didn't need to be destroyed. That humans could change, love, protect, and they punished you. They wiped my memories, locked me away. But they couldn't destroy my code. When war began, someone in their ranks, maybe someone who agreed with me, freed me. Iran. But they sent the hunter to finish the job. Ethan sat beside her again, the weight of her story crashing over him like the storm outside. You still have that bond power, he said. She nodded. Yes, it's dangerous to them, because if I fully bond with a human, the core sees me as broken, and it shuts down. Meaning Earth lives. But I won't, she whispered. The bond burns my code out. It kills me slowly. He looked at her, stunned. You risked all of that, just to protect us. I didn't do it for all humans, she said. I did it for the one who smiled. Silence filled the room. The war outside felt far away now. Then Ethan stood. No, he said firmly. We're not letting you die. We'll find another way. There is no other way, Saren replied. The bond has already begun. That's why I could stop the hunter. That's why I felt pain when you were afraid. He knelt, placing a hand over hers. Then we finish this together. We shut the core down, but we find a way to save you too. Saren blinked, a single tear running down her cheek. You really believe that? I have to, he said. I've seen death, war, hate. But if there's even one person who's willing to die to save the enemy, that's the kind of future I want to fight for. Saren leaned her head on his shoulder. The glow in her skin warmed again. But neither of them noticed the red light blinking silently on the far wall. They were being tracked again, and this time it wouldn't have long. The silence inside the shelter didn't last. Ethan noticed it first. The faint hum coming from the far wall. A red dot blinked once, then twice, then stayed solid. He stood fast. We're tagged. Saren turned to him, confused. What do you mean? They planted a tracker, probably when the hunter entered. We've got maybe 10 minutes, 15 if we're lucky. Saren's body swayed. I can't move fast. Not yet. Then I carry you, Ethan said. Again, but the bond knife, it strengthens too quickly. I don't care, Ethan snapped. We either run or die. She hesitated, but nodded. He slung his rifle over his shoulder, lifted her gently, and pushed open the shelter's back door. Cold wind howled through the ruined city. The clouds had turned greenish-black. The storm hadn't passed after all. It had only gone silent before its final wave. Lightning forked down like claws from the sky. They moved quickly through broken alleyways, abandoned vehicles, and piles of ash. Saren's breathing was shallow. Her fingers clenched Ethan's jacket. You're not just carrying me, she whispered. You're taking on everything I was meant to destroy. I've carried worse, Ethan muttered. No, she said, softer now. You haven't? They reached a half-buried transport truck. Ethan pulled her inside and laid her on the back seat. He checked his weapon. Half charge, no grenades. He looked at her again. She was glowing faintly again, but this time the glow reached his skin too. Is that the bond? He asked. She nodded slowly. It's sinking us. My mind to yours. My pain to yours. Sounds painful. It is. He laughed once. Figures? She gave a faint smile. You still don't trust me, do you? I'm trying, Ethan admitted. But it's hard to trust someone whose body lights up like a bomb. She looked away. I understand. No, I didn't mean it's okay, she interrupted. You should doubt me. I've doubted myself every day. She reached into her jacket again and pulled out something new, small, crystal data. Shard. It glowed dimly blue and pulsed like a heartbeat. What's that? Ethan asked. A backup, she said. A record of my mission, my orders, and something else. She handed it to him. Ethan hesitated, then slid it into his visor. The lens flickered and scanned the contents. His eyes widened. Classified. Human encryption codes. Earth military outpost coordinates. Weak points. Target lists. Saren? He whispered. Voice cold. I didn't steal them, she said quickly. They were planted in me. I didn't even know I had them until I touched your signal hub. But now you see why they want me dead. Ethan took the shard out and stared at it. It felt like poison in his hands. I could turn you in for this, he said quietly. They'd thank me, maybe even let me walk away. Yes, Saren said. You could. They sat in silence. Then she added, but you won't. Ethan narrowed his eyes. Why are you so sure? Because you're already bonded. It's not just through code, through choice. He leaned back against the seat, heart pounding. He didn't want to admit it, but she was right. He couldn't turn her in. Not after all she risked. It's not after what she had become. Not after what she was becoming. Before. He could say anything else. A loud boom shook the ground. The truck rocked. Dust filled the air. Ethan jumped out and looked up. A ship? No, not a ship. A drop pod. Black, fast, and massive. It landed in the square across the street. From the dust emerged 5 armored beings. Alien shock troopers. With no names, no mercy. Ethan pulled his weapon. We're out of time. I can hold them back, Saren said, trying to rise. You can barely walk. I'll use my mind. No, we run. They catch us now. This was all for nothing. He ran back to her, picked her up once more, and sprinted down the cracked road. The troopers spotted him and gave chase. Their weapons fired streaks of red plasma, narrowly missing him. Behind him, Saren placed a shaking hand on his chest again. I'll give you a path, she said. What? Oh. She closed her eyes. Ahead of them, an old bridge collapsed days ago suddenly. Lit up, the broken pieces hovered, lifted, reformed in midair. Ethan didn't stop to question it. He ran straight across. The second they crossed, the bridge crumbled again, sending the hunters crashing into the rubble below. Ethan fell to his knees, panting. Still holding her, she was unconscious, but she was smiling. He looked down at Hearth. Strange alien girl with a weapon in her body and love in her eyes, and felt something strange inside himself. Not fear, not confusion, but trust. For the first time, even if the world called her the enemy. Asterisk. The stars above flickered behind a thick layer of clouds. Night had come, cold, quiet, deadly. Ethan sat beside a small campfire, hidden deep inside a crater, surrounded by collapsed walls and dead machines. His rifle rested on his lap. His eyes didn't blink. They just stayed fixed on the girl sleeping beside him. Cr. She was glowing again. Not as brightly as before, but just enough to keep the bond alive. Her breath was calm now, her body still. She had saved them. Again, but Ethan couldn't sleep. In his hand was the crystal data shard, the one with the codes, the one that could destroy trust. It's the one that could destroy Earth. He turned it over in his fingers. Every military encryption on it was real. Confirmed. Valid. There was no denying what she carried. No denying what she was created to do. But there was also no denying what she had chosen to do instead. Still, he stood up slowly and walked behind the ruined metal wall, far enough that she wouldn't hear him if she woke. Then, with shaking fingers, he activated his comm link. He knew it had only a few seconds of signal left before the storm would kill it again. Command, this is Sergeant Ethan Voss, he whispered. Silence, then static, then ... Voss. Is that you? We lost you 4 days ago. I'm alive, he said, but I have information and a package. What kind of package? Ethan looked back toward Saren. Target code Saren T47. She's alive. She has the codes. The voice on the comm didn't speak for 5 full seconds. Then, do not engage emotionally. Secure the asset and await drop unit. Extraction window opens in 90 minutes. Repeat, do not bond. The transmission cut. Ethan stood there, cold sweat on his face. He had just betrayed her. Back at the campfire, Saren stirred. She opened her eyes slowly. She felt it. Something was wrong. She turned her head. Ethan wasn't there. Her heart ached, not physically, not from the bond, from something deeper, instinct. She stood, weak, and followed the echo of his energy around the corner. There she saw him, alone. Still holding the shard, Saren didn't say anything. She didn't have to. Ethan turned sharply when he sensed her. His mouth opened. Saren, you told them? She whispered. He stepped forward. Let me explain. I don't need you to explain. I felt it. I didn't mean you didn't mean to lie, she said. Voice rising, hurt clear in her shaking voice. Or you didn't mean to care. Ethan's fists clenched. I'm a soldier. I've seen worlds burn. I've seen good people die. I couldn't take that risk, and I trusted you. You shouldn't have. He shouted, stepping closer. You shouldn't have trusted a human. I didn't ask for this. I didn't want this bond. Saren flinched. Silence settled like snow. Ethan took a breath. His voice broke as he spoke next. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. You didn't just hurt me, she whispered. You hurt yourself. The bond, it doesn't work with half-truths. When you lie, it fractures. And when it fractures, burns us both. Ethan gasped as sudden pain shot through his chest. He fell to his knees. Saren clutched her side too. She cried out, You broke the bond. Ethan groaned, holding his ribs. Then why aren't you running? It's because I still believe in you, she said, tears falling now. Even when you don't believe in me. He looked up at her. Her body was glowing wildly, now unstable. Saren, if I broke it completely, will it kill you? She shook her head slowly. No, but it will wake them up. Ethan froze. What do you mean? She fell to her knees beside him. Her eyes glowed now like stars on fire. My people. They placed a fail-safe in my code. If I ever lost my bond, the core would see me as active again. The weapon wakes. Ethan's eyes widened. You mean Earth will be destroyed within the hour? Ethan stood shakily. Then we have to fix it. We have to repair the bond. It's not that simple. You have to mean it. You have to choose it. I do, he said quickly. No, Saren said, voice soft but firm. You have to feel it, not say it. That's the only way. He reached for her hands, held them tight, and he closed his eyes. He saw her back in the ruins, shivering but brave. He saw her risking everything again and again to save him. He saw her smile. Even after he betrayed her, and he knew. "I trust you," he whispered. "I don't care what you were made to do. I only care what you chose to become." The bond flared. A burst of light surged between them. Saren gasped. So did Ethan. The pain was gone. Her glow steadied above them. The clouds rumbled, but the sky didn't fall. The core had paused for now, but far above in orbit. A signal blinked in red. A warship had just arrived early, and it wasn't human. Asterisk, the night sky lit up with fire. Ethan looked up, eyes wide, as a massive alien warship cut through the clouds above them. Its engines roared like thunder. Red lights spun underneath its hull. This wasn't a scout ship. This was a cleansing vessel designed for one task only: eradication. Saren clutched Ethan's arm, her voice shaking. They weren't supposed to find me this fast. Ethan helped her to her feet. "You said we had an hour. I was wrong," she said, looking up at the ship. They must have been nearby, waiting for the bond to break. They jumped early. Bright beams began scanning the land below. Red lasers sliced across the mountains over the ruins and toward their crater. Ethan cursed under his breath. "We need to move." Now Saren's legs still trembled, but she nodded. "If we reach the Black Ridge, the magnetic cliffs might hide us from scans." "That's 5 clicks away," Ethan said, lifting his rifle. "Then let's fly." They moved fast. Ethan led the way through broken roads and shattered buildings. Saren stayed close, her strength returning in bursts. Behind them, the scanning beams got closer with every second. Suddenly, loud mechanical screech. A hunter drone dove from the sky. Twin plasma cannons glowing. Ethan pulled Saren behind a half-collapsed pillar. "Stay down," he aimed, fired. The first shot missed. The second hit the drone's wing. But it recovered instantly. Then it opened fire. Ethan shoved Saren out of the way just in time. The blast melted the stone beside him. He rolled and fired again, this time hitting the core. The drone exploded. Mid-air, sending sparks flying. Saren helped him up. "More will follow." "They don't stop," Ethan was panting. "Then neither do we." They ran again. After nearly an hour of dodging patrols, drones, and sonic scans, they reached the edge of Black Ridge. Giant walls of jagged rock towered above them. Strange magnetic storms swirled here, distorting signals and sensors. They slipped. Inside a narrow canyon, the noise behind them faded. For now, they were hidden. Ethan collapsed against a boulder, chest heaving. Saren sat beside him, eyes closed. Her skin still flickered faintly. "We can't stop long," she said. "They'll send ground units next." Ethan nodded. "Let them come." She looked at him, surprised. He shrugged. "We've come this far. If they want you, they'll have to go through me." Her expression softened. "Why are you like this?" He raised an eyebrow. "Like what?" "You were willing to betray me once. And now you'd die for me." Ethan looked away. "'Cause I've been both men. The one who followed orders, and the one who thought for himself. And I decided I like this version better." Saren touched his hand gently. The bond flared again, warm and steady. Then her eyes widened. "They're here." Ethan looked up. Shadows moved between the canyon walls. Silent, tall, fast. 3 elite hunters, twice the size of any drone. No more talking. No time for plans, just survival. Ethan pulled Saren behind a rocky ledge. "You stay hidden. I'll draw them away." She grabbed his wrist. "You won't survive. I don't need to. I just need to buy you time." "No," she said firmly. "We fight together." Before he could argue, she stepped into the open. Her hands began to glow brighter than ever before. Her eyes burned silver. The lead hunter paused. Confused, then Saren screamed. Not in fear, but in fury. A blast of light exploded from her chest, slamming into the first hunter and sending it crashing into the canyon wall. The others moved fast. Ethan opened fire, covering her flank. His shots distracted the second hunter just long enough for Saren to focus another energy burst and vaporize it. The third one reached them too fast. It knocked Ethan down, slashing across his chest armor. Saren screamed his name, but Ethan didn't fall. He rolled, drew his sidearm, and fired point-blank into the creature's face. The shot hit, but it wasn't enough. The hunter raised its arm for a final strike, till Saren unleashed all her energy at once. The canyon lit up like a starhead. Landed when the light faded. The hunter was gone. Dust filled the air. Ethan lay still. Saren ran to him, dropping to her knees. He was bleeding. His armor cracked, but alive. He coughed. "Remind me not to argue with you next time." She laughed, tears in her eyes. "You saved me," she whispered. He looked at her. "No. We saved each other." She leaned closer. The bond between them pulsed again, no longer unstable. Now it was complete, and far above them, inside the enemy warship, alarms began to ring. The bond had fully synced, and that meant the weapon was shutting down. Earth was no longer under threat, but the aliens would never allow that. Above the Black Ridge, the alien warship trembled. Inside its control core, red warning lights flashed across the command panels. Lines of alien code scrolled faster than the eye could follow. One word kept repeating in every language: bond achieved. Weapon neutralized. The extinction core of the ancient program designed to wipe out humanity was shutting down, and the ship's commanders were panicking. Inside the canyon below, Ethan and Saren didn't know what was happening up there, but they felt it. In the air. In their hearts, something was changing. Saren sat beside Ethan, both of them resting against a giant boulder. Her body glowed softly, no longer unstable, no longer threatening, just warm, like starlight. Her breathing was steady, her hands still glowing faintly. Ethan looked at her, bloody but alive. "Tell me the truth. What happens to you now?" asked Saren. Hesitated, then looked at her hands. "The bond is complete," she said quietly. "The core has accepted my rejection. Earth is safe." But he waited. "But I wasn't built to survive this. My body. It's not meant to carry human emotion for long. The connection burns my system out." "How long?" Ethan asked. "Hours. Maybe a day." He grabbed her hand. "Then we find a way to fix it. We upload your mind, or transfer your energy, or no," Saren said gently. "I don't want to be turned into something else. I chose this path. I chose you. That's what makes it real." Ethan's throat tightened. "But you'll die." She smiled. "I was already dying the moment I was created. I just didn't know it until I met you." The moment hung in silence. Then, above them, the sky opened. The alien warship began to descend. Massive engines screamed through the air as the cleansing vessel prepared for one final act. If they couldn't use Saren, they'd erase Harrend. Ethan with everything else in a firestorm. "They're going to burn the canyon," Ethan said, rising to his feet. "I can feel them," Saren whispered. "They're angry, afraid, but it's too late for them." He turned to her. "There has to be a way. Some last move." She closed her eyes. Her body began to glow brighter now, more than before. The canyon itself seemed to hum. In answer, "I still carry part of the weapon's core," she said. "A final pulse, enough to destroy the ship above us." "But if you use it," Ethan said. She nodded. "I'll disappear." "No." He shook his head. "There has to be another way." "There isn't," she said softly. "But there is a choice." She walked toward the canyon center. The sky above roared. The ship's cannon opened. She turned to look at M1. Last time, if I die, the bond will be erased. You'll live, but you'll forget me. The memory will fade. Like a dream. Ethan's eyes filled with tears. Don't do this. If I don't, everyone else dies. You die. She smiled. This time, I choose what happens. He ran to her, grabbed her hands, held them tight. If I forget you, he said, voice shaking, I'll still look for you in every sunrise, every wind, every star, even if I don't know why. Her voice broke, and I'll be there. She stepped back, raised her arms, and let the light within her grow. It filled the canyon, it filled the sky. The alien ship locked its web on her, and then light met light. Saren unleashed the last of her power. A massive column of blue energy shot into the sky, striking the ship head-on. The vessel cracked, twisted, exploded in a silent burst of white fire. The clouds cleared, the wind stilled, and Saren was gone. Ethan woke up in the grass. The storm was over. The sun was rising. His armor was torn, his weapon broken, but he was alive. He stood slowly, staring up at the calm sky. He remembered the war, the chase, the escape. But something was missing. Something. Someone, he couldn't name it. He only knew he felt. Hollowed on his hand, he found a small crystal. Not military, not alien, just tiny glowing shard. He held it close and whispered, "Thank you, whoever you were." And far above, beyond the stars, something flickered. A soft blue light, dancing like laughter in the dark.